So why do I think this is the place? I think this is the place because it fits so many of the geographic factors and the historical factors that go into what make a crucifixion and an execution at that time happen. Executions and crucifixions had to be outside of the city. We are outside of the city. Executions and crucifixions happen in places of travel. As we've already said, we were in a very, very busy place of travel. That definitely works. What we also know is that this was generally, for sure, a place of execution. And here's how we know that. The most common Jewish sentence of execution was stoning. Okay? Stoning could happen actually two ways. It could be that we put you in the middle of us, we all throw rocks until you're dead, and that was done. What was also allowed, it was actually more common, was that we could tie you hand and foot and throw you off a cliff. And that was actually more common. The victim, or the criminal, you could say, had his hands tied behind his back, had his feet tied, was taken to the top of the cliff, and the accusers who had brought the charge were required themselves to push him over the cliff. The goal was to push the victim hard enough that he would land head first and die. They would then kind of look over the edge and see if you were dead. If you were not, they would drop some heavy rocks on you from the top of the cliff and finish the job. We know that was done here. Okay, at some point in history, and this is what all the archaeologists agree on this, was that this was actually quarried out, that this mountain was cut. It was cut over to there and then up the other side. Why is that important? Here's why it's important. What you find out is that this is not some random hill. This is the highest point in the north end of Mount Moriah. Okay, this is the Temple Mount. Projected north, this is the same mountain, and at some point they cut a hole in it. Okay? And that hole in the mountain is what became the road east and west, going to Jericho and going to the sea. But there's a scriptural reason why I think this is the place. This ties together the why with the what's the lesson for us. And it's actually in Genesis of all these strange things. Get what happens in Genesis 22. They go up on the mountain. He says the mountains of Moriah. So I have to be honest here and say, it doesn't say Mount Moriah, but it says go to the mountains of Moriah, to the place I will show you. Okay? And he goes to the top. The top would have been up here somewhere, above us, of the mountain. It says, then Isaac spoke to his father, Abraham, and said, my father. And Abraham replies, here I am, my son. And Isaac says, the fire and the wood are here, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering? And Abraham said, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And then God says, stop, but he does provide. They named the mountain, God will provide. And they said, God will provide on this mountain. And I think that all that is prophetic, that's hearkening forward to what Jesus would do. And I think God did provide on this mountain, like right here. So I think it was here because it fits historically where they crucified, outside of cities, on a road, places of business, as it still is, constant bus noise here. I think it fits historically, but I think it also fits what the Bible says. And Jesus died. He committed his spirit to God and said, it is finished. And just down a little bit south on the same hill, the temple veil tore. Okay, that Holy of Holies represented where God, his presence was. And what God was saying, that some of that veil torn, he was saying to everyone on earth that my presence is no longer confined to this space. I'm out of this box. And he fulfilled the words that he spoke to the woman at the well when he said, you will no longer worship there or here, you'll worship in spirit and truth. And God said, I'm out of this box, I'm in my believers now. But the main thing to take away from here is that we couldn't provide the sacrifice. We're just like Abraham, there was nothing we could sacrifice that was enough. And so 4,000 years ago, God told Abraham, don't do it. Don't do this sacrifice here. Let me provide. 2,000 years later, I believe in the same place he did provide, and that's here. And he was taken from here to a tomb. That's going to be our next episode. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, click like and subscribe. It really helps us. And if you really enjoyed it, go on over to our website, thelandofthebible.com, and become a supporter. It helps us generate more content and gives you access to our full library of video and Bible study content.